So my friends were having their food in the canteen, and I tried to not look at them because I was afraid it might trigger my
Temptations.
hunger. Yeah, yeah. I really wanted to eat what they had in their hands, but I couldn't. Some of them, they were kind, they offered me, and then they say, it's okay, you are looking just nice already. You don't need to go to this extreme. Just have a bit. But at that time I was so consumed in this kind of thinking. I felt that it was like uh they were trying to persuade me so I would fall off track.
Welcome back to another episode of Beyond Fitness. So today we're going to be filming our third episode with a special guest. Her name is Loong. So Loong, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I am Loong. My full name is Loong Lian Min, but you can just refer to me as Loong. That's how my friends call me anyway. I am a second year student in the University of Nottingham, currently studying international relations with French. And I will be progressing to my third year in the coming semester.
Do you mind telling us about how did you get started with your fitness journey?
Yeah, that's absolutely, that's a really long story. I think I was only 10 when I started becoming body conscious. I started becoming conscious about how the others, whether it's my friends or my family, looked at me. I think a huge part of that comes from my family because my mom, she's extremely body conscious also. So I remember when I was just a kid, like around 10, that's when puberty starts kind of. And then she keeps telling me to avoid eating certain foods or to do more, to work out more so I wouldn't, put on extra weight that I would not be able to lose in the future and stuff. And apart from that, when I went to school, primary school, people would start, because I went to an all-girls school, so we were extremely open with commenting about other people's bodies. So I started receiving some comments from my friends saying that, oh, this portion of your body is too big, this portion of your body is too small, it's not nice, it's this and that. And then I started feeling like I'm just not there yet. There's a part of me that's not up to par. Like no matter how good my academic results were, how I look still matter. And then people would discriminate or give some unfair judgments or comments about me just based on my looks. So that's where everything just started. But I never actually put effort into my training or my nutrition until I was 14. I still remember when I was 14, I weighed at around 48 kg, which isn't actually overweight. I wasn't overweight.
Yeah,
I was at a normal weight. I mean, I know that BMI isn't the most accurate portrayal about fitness, but during that time in primary schools, that's the only kind of standard measurement that we used to gauge whether someone was overweight or not. So even when I did my BMI calculations at that point, I wasn't overweight at all. I was in the normal range. It's just right. But it seems like my friends were all obsessed over being underweight. So if you weren't BMI 16 or 17, they would feel it sounded like you're not good enough. So then plus with the advice and the nagging by my mom about exercising and wearing S size clothes and stuff, I just decided it was like I had to do this. I had to get to a certain weight that allowed me to wear the smaller sizes sold in whatever shop I find around the town. So I started this whole crazy mind-boggling and drastic journey in trying to cut down my weight. So I'm that kind of person that once I want to do something, I give it my absolute all. So it's scary to a point because I can go to
Extreme.
an extreme. Yeah, to an extreme that's it is absolutely not sustainable. So I can give you a kind of portrayal of what I did at that time. What I did was I started doing some research, and then I found out that most of the fat that I put on, it is a result of a calorie surplus. So what I did was the inverse to create a calorie deficit. But at that time, because it's my first time cutting weight, my conception was the faster I want to get there, then the more drastic the deficit should be. The calorie count that I should consume to get to that weight is around 1,500 calories per day. But for me, I was worried that it wouldn't work. So I had to push myself and deduct further. I only allowed myself to consume 1,200 per day.
Wow.
So it was a bare minimum. I was only 14. I was only 14, and I pushed myself to eat only 1,200 calories per day. And at that time, I only knew about the calories, but I did not know about building good habits. I did not know anything about nutritional value. I do not know what calcium is, what's iron. I just wanted to lose weight. That's all I had in mind. So, plus, my mom was not the best reference for me. And she actually advised me to skip meals, to only have breakfast, and to only have dinner. So in the morning, I would only have 1 or 2 pieces of bread, and I would starve myself through recess. So my friends were having their food in the canteen, and I tried to not look at them because I was afraid it might trigger my hunger. Yeah. I really wanted to eat what they had in their hands, but I couldn't. Some of them, they were kind, they offered me, and then they say, it's okay, you are looking just nice already. You don't need to go to this extreme. Just have a bit. But at that time, I was so consumed in this kind of thinking. I felt that it was like they were trying to persuade me so I would fall off track. It was so toxic in my mind. So, and then I just made myself not eat at all through recess. At night, I would eat what my parents have prepared for me on the dinner table. But it's always because I was so worried of the effect that oil might bring. I had to wash them off in hot water for every single meal, and I only allowed myself like 2 pieces of meat because that's also what my mom told me. Yeah, and then training wise, it was running. I could run fairly well at that time, and I am still bewildered at my ability to run because now I am 100% into lifting. There's no running involved. Yeah, so at that time, it was 45 minutes of long distance running, but it was in the gym. I just followed whatever my mom did. That was what she did at that time, so I followed. And then I realized one day after a few months of doing this, my lowest weight was around 40 kilos. So I wasn't even weighing 100 pounds. That was the turning point for me was that I realized my focus in class was getting worse. I was sleeping a lot. I fell asleep in class. I couldn't concentrate. My homework was everywhere, and I just felt terrible. It's like my body is telling me that you've took this too far. Loong, you took this too far. It's time to cut back a little. So what I did was I tried to eat back the amount I used to, just to bring my focus back, because I placed a lot of my self-worth on my academic results also. I didn't want that to be to be affected. So I had to bring things back. And then when I tried to consume the amount that I used to, I'm sure you guys could imagine what happened then. So
The
the
bounce
whole
back,
thing just
yeah.
backfired. Yeah. So the whole thing just backfired, and then I gained more than what I lost. So, so that was terrible on my self-esteem. Extremely terrible. And then I did the same thing again. But this time I couldn't reach that weight of 40 kilos. It was just like a small decrease, like maybe 4 to 5 kilos. And then I gained it all back again. And then I lost it. And then I gained it all back again. And this cycle just perpetuated and repeated itself up till when I graduated. So at the last 2 years of my studies in secondary school, because I needed to put more emphasis on my extracurricular activities, because I was the conductor of the band at that time. And then I didn't have much time to think about all this. So during that time when I just kind of quote unquote let myself go, that was when I was the heaviest in that year. Now I am way heavier than what I weighed at that time. But I mean, I don't care now. But during that time, it was quite. I was very conscious about my weight. Every second, every minute, every hour, I would think about it, and it followed me everywhere. Whether I was in school, whether I was in college, whether I went to national service, any camps.
So you started that cycle when you were at around the age of 14, and all the way until you graduated high school. So that's like 4 years of that like crucial, like that awful cycle you were in.
Yeah, but that's actually not the worst part of what I have done to my body. Came after was when I was in college, when I was in Sunway College doing my foundation. So this kind of gives you a background about my relationship with my body and also with training, with nutrition. So because of these 4 years, I knew that what I was doing, there's something wrong with it. Otherwise, it wouldn't backfire. So then that's how I met one of my first trainers. She is still in touch with me. We are extremely good friends. She's by far the most honest trainer that I have met, because she's the first one that told me that what I did, if I go too drastic, it wouldn't be sustainable, and it's best that I go slow and steady. And then she's the only one that told me that. But then I did not believe in her, because I was so occupied and obsessed with this idea that I could do what others can't. There's something special about me that can allow me to make some progress that others couldn't. And that trainer was also the first trainer that introduced me to lifting. But then she was a bodybuilder at that time, so her focus was on bodybuilding, on building muscle, and getting at the lowest fat percentage as possible. So I followed suit, right? So it was that kind of training regime where I go like legs on a day, and then arms on another day, and then core on another day. So those kinds of splits. And then at that time, because I don't know why, but I wanted to prove that I was capable of building muscle and also losing the maximum amount of fat that I could. So what I did was I actually stopped every kind of food that was cooked outside. So in restaurants, in fast food restaurants. Before this, I would still consume it, but I would wash it a bit or stuff. But now, at this point, I restricted myself from all kinds of events. I was a loner at that time at Sunway College. I had friends, but whenever they asked me to go out with them for lunch, for dinner, for a hangout, they wouldn't. When they first met me, they would ask, but slowly they stopped asking because they knew that my answer would always be no. And then the reason why is because I didn't know the calories that come with food that are prepared outside. So that was my first rule. The second rule is that every piece of food that I put inside my mouth, it has to be either boiled or steamed only. Rice I did, but it's also a certain type of rice. It's not any white rice that you get like anywhere. It was just basmati or something. And then I tried to avoid bread. And then even if I went to Subway, if I was in a rush, I went to Subway, I would order the Veggie Delight with no sauces at all. So zero, nothing, not even olive oil. And it was basically what I called eat clean. Kinesiology lecturer, he was a Canadian bodybuilder, and I think he won a few awards, like 14 of them throughout his whole life, and then he retired at his peak. So he was very experienced in the field. And one day when I was after class, he just dragged me to the corner, and then he told me that he sees genetic potential in me in the field of bodybuilding because of my frame. My shoulders are really wide, and my hips are tiny. So it's not like how most girls are built. So for him, he felt that I had a lot of potential in this field, and that's how he kind of persuaded me into thinking that this sort of regime will bring me far. So that was how I survived like 9 months of eating like this. But it was actually not, it was very unsustainable, because what he also told me is that I have to eat 6 days like this, clean, everything steamed, boiled, even meat, even chicken breast, boiled or steamed. And then on my 7th day, I could eat whatever I wanted, which you could imagine. That day, I would go nuts.
Everything and anything under the sun.
Yeah. I would buy. Think about this, because I lived in a condo, and then there was a convenience store down there. So that convenience store was open 24 hours. I would go there, buy this gardenia bread with the I don't know, butterscotch, is it? Butterscotch with the
the loaf, yeah.
I would buy an entire loaf of that and finish the whole loaf in like one sitting. Yeah, just buy it up, shut the door, lock myself out in my room, and then I took one piece, and then I couldn't stop. I would just stuff myself with it. And then once I'm bloated, I felt terrible. And then I had to go to the gym to kind of try to cut this off, because I felt that I ate too much. And then I went to the gym, because after you are feeling so stuffed, you can't really perform well in your training as well. So when the training didn't go well, I blamed myself for not being good enough. And then again, because of that anger and that disappointment, I went back to my room, and then I went to this convenience store again, and then maybe buy some biscuits or cookies, and again I stuffed myself. So you can think about this whole crazy cycle that's replaying. And my friends, my roommates that were living in not roommates, my condo mates that were living in other rooms, some of them actually asked me whether I was okay or not, because on some days they don't really see me. They can't really see me, because I would be all I would lock myself up in the room to just eat and and feel bad about myself. So it's kind of crazy. And then the triggers to eat in this sort of manner would also arise on, let's say, day 1 to day 6 midnight. So day 1 to day 6 was when I eat clean, right? So those are the days I eat clean. So midnight, when no one was watching, everyone was asleep, that's when I feel some sort of trigger, some sort of desire to just release myself, because no one would be in the kitchen. So that's when I also binge eat. The degree that I would the degree of my desire for food is up till that level where even when I look at protein powder, think about Herbalife, those protein powders.
Yeah.
I would just take a scoop and then put it into my mouth. It doesn't taste good, but I wanted to put something inside. Yeah. So I think that kind of persisted for like 9 months. Yeah, that. So
Wow.
crazy.
Even you start dry scooping protein powders.
Yeah, I just scooped a huge scoop and then just dumped it into my mouth. And then the funny thing is, during these times, because it was midnight, I'm not really fully conscious.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like sleepwalking, but it's not really sleepwalking because I know I'm doing it, but also I can't stop myself. So it's still that point. Because I went through extreme from day 1 to day 6, then it just backfired. And I felt terrible because that meant that I didn't sleep well for most of the nights, because in the middle of the night I was looking for things to put into my mouth. So it was hell.
From what you previously mentioned, it sounds like you were facing body dysmorphia and your unhealthy relationship with food. It sounds like you are facing eating disorders as well. So how did you manage to notice that all these like changes in yourself? Like, how are you able to realize that what you were doing and like your mentality about food and towards your body, it wasn't like healthy?
When I felt that I only want to isolate myself and be alone most of the time. So when I was in my first year in Nottingham, I was still with body dysmorphia, and I also still had binge eating. So most of those days, even when I have classes, no matter which class I would have to go to, it was like an intense desire to just skip class and not show myself. Even if I went out for my room, I would make sure that I was dressed in all black, baggy clothes with a cap. And I just wanted to disappear. I wanted to be invisible. I felt like every person that walked past me or maybe just saw me is disgusted with how I look. It's kind of like a reminder that repeats in my brain and telling me that you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you are horrendous. So all of those negative thoughts. And then actually, if it weren't for other people asking me like, are you okay? Or why are you feeling, why do you look so down? Is everything all right? And then one of my other friends would ask, I see you wearing all black recently. It's everything fine? So it's when people ask me these questions that I realize that something is off. what I did at that point, I don't think it was the best strategy, but what I did was I actually joined a community. This community is initiated by one of the more, I think he's quite prominent in the US. His name is Jordan Syed. Not sure if you guys have heard of him.
No.
Jordan Syed, the powerlifter. No?
No.
Okay, so he built this whole he has this community that's called the Inner Circle, and he initiated this project with another senior woman. She's yeah. So the other woman is around 60 years old. So you can think about the kind of conversations that goes within this community. It's actually very mind opening because they didn't place any emphasis on how their clients looked or how their the members of that community looked. It was really entirely about getting stronger. So I joined this community, but my sole reason to join this community at that time is just to also to lose weight. I didn't think about trying to cure my cure, quote unquote, trying to manage my body dysmorphia or binge eating disorder. It was when I entered that community and I see people posting this sort of stuff. So it's like some of them were tackling also body dysmorphia. Some of them were tackling binge eating disorders, anorexia, bulimia. And then I realized that this space is one of the places where I might be able to pull myself out from the devastating situation that I'm in. And then I think one of the most memorable quotes that Jordan has introduced me to is that I have to face the fear. So what I did at that time was every time I had these sort of terrible feelings, not wanting to go to class because I was afraid of how people looked at me and stuff, I was allowed to write that down or post it in that group because that group was kind of like a safe space. Everyone was very encouraging and helpful, and it was very warm. And the things that you talk about inside, it wouldn't leak out. So I could say whatever I want. I could talk about how my mom keeps telling me to look a certain way. I could share about the comments that I received today regarding my body. I could say whatever I wanted, and then they would remind me of the situation I'm in, and remind me that I am the only one that is able to pull myself out from this situation. So by this sort of there's kind of a there's a healing power in writing things out. I'm not sure if people are aware about this. When you write something out and it's not only you that is reading it, it's also other people, it's kind of like a release. So at that point of time, I think slowly by posting one day at a time, it helped me slowly accept that there's more to myself than just my body and my appearance.
So you found basically like the way you were able to help yourself. You found like a community that helped remind you.
Yeah, definitely. I think I think a good support system is crucial. If you are embedded in this web of people that are extremely body conscious, you'll never be able to get yourself out because every day you go meet these people, they would tell you the same thing. So it's not that like you have to unfriend them because of their conversations. It's not that. I mean, if you like hanging out with them, then go for it. But if you feel that being together with a certain group of people only perpetuates that sort of low self-esteem in you, then you might need to recalibrate and reevaluate the situation that you're in. Yeah, I think a good support system is definitely crucial. And another thing would be patience. This is not going to take a week. Recalibrating your mental state is much more harder, 1,000 times more harder than losing weight. Your body would respond to whatever stimulus that you give it, but the mental power that is required to change what you think is extremely it can be very hard on yourself if you are not patient, because we definitely would want to heal from something as fast as possible, but things that come with self-belief and self-esteem aspects of this, it doesn't change overnight. And if you don't have a good support system, if you are rushing it, it's very easy to give up. Yeah. So I think my two biggest pieces of advice is get a good support system, and just remember that there's no fucking up in the fitness industry. So just go on. Just don't give up. And also, maybe the goal that you started with isn't the same goal as what you are pursuing now, and that's perfectly okay. But remember why you're in the situation that you're in. I feel like if you think that the situation that you're in isn't what you have been aiming for all this time, then the goals might need to be reevaluated. And then if now mental health is what you are pursuing after, getting rid of body dysmorphia is what you are trying to do, getting rid of binge eating is also what you're trying to do, then remember that, so even if your weight spikes up, even if your body fat increases, remember that this is your priority right now. Your body can be changed in the future as long as you create a calorie deficit or as long as you have a caloric surplus. But the mental state will follow you till the day you die.
It's really amazing that you didn't have to seek out for like therapy, because there are a lot of people that I think your case, like you were able to resolve this by yourself, but many other people they have to go seek out for therapy. And I think like either way, whichever one you do, like as long as at the end of the day you are able to like get better and improve your mental state, then like this needs to be done, really.
Yeah, definitely. It varies person to person.
Exactly.
I went to therapy before, but it wasn't for BDD or binge eating. It was for my depression and anxiety. If even I get the best psychiatrist to diagnose my situation, give me advice, but I am not willing to follow or listen or execute it, it will be useless. It all comes down to yourself. You need to pull yourself out. Exactly. I think another crucial thing is also setting up smaller goals. Like, let's say if you say you want to get rid of body dysmorphia, and then you yes, that's your ultimate goal, but how do you know whether you are progressing day by day? One other very useful method that has helped me is that I used to have a calendar, and every single day that I did not binge eat, or when I didn't care about, let's say, my uncle's comments about how I looked, I would put a red cross on that calendar. So over the week, I could look at how many days that I managed to believe in myself and stay true to what I wanted to get rid of. And then just by looking at the red crosses on the calendar can give you some sort of sense of accomplishment. And through that, that's how I was able to see that, okay, I have more red crosses this week than last week. I'm getting better at it. And then slowly, I didn't need the red crosses anymore because I know that I am dealing with the situation in a much more willful way. Yeah. So that helps also.
Wow. So now that you have like so-called recovered from all the like so-called like your body dysmorphia and like your depression, I guess. What are you doing now that is different from the past to keep on this healthy lifestyle?
Okay. I think I have to be clear about a few things is that you can never fully heal from body dysmorphia or depression or anxiety, any sort of mental twitch that you have brought yourself into. You can't actually fully heal from it. So even today, I can go out, get some groceries, and then I'll be able to see a few girls that look amazing, and then I would feel like, oh my god, I feel terrible. It's not my best physique. I'm not in the best physique that I want to be in. So these thoughts will come back. It will haunt you. It will disturb you. It will make you doubt yourself. But I think the important thing here is to not let these thoughts control your behavior. So yes, I can feel terrible. Yes, I accept that I don't like how I look now, but that is not going to deviate my course now. So let's say if now my aim is to lift more weight. So yes, today I feel terrible because I don't look like a certain person, but it's okay because that's not my goal. I just stick with what I have in mind now and go with it. So currently, that's how I manage all those random and arbitrary thoughts that can come bouncing up. Yeah. Currently, I don't give a damn about my nutrition. I just eat whatever is served on the table or whatever that's available. A part of it is because it doesn't matter to me anymore how I look. My biggest goal now is, oh yeah, maybe you guys don't know, I am doing Olympic weightlifting now. It's a different field. Yeah. So my current goal now is just to work better on my technique in the clean and jerk and the snatch. And then a long-term goal would be to be able to snatch my current body weight. My current body weight is quite heavy. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at in the coming few years. How I look on the stage doesn't matter.
Thank you so much for sharing. Like, you really went and told us about your whole story, and I think it's really inspiring for you to be open about this, because there are going to still be people out there who are currently going through this, and they could be feeling like they're facing this by themselves. But I'm sure that you coming out here and talking about it very openly, they'll be able to feel comforted knowing that there's someone out there who experienced what they are going through, and that they can see like a light at the end of the tunnel, that they can work on it as well. So thank you very much for joining our episode and for sharing your story.
Keep it 100, I be feeling like Campbell soup over white rice, baked chicken with the skin on.